Hi everyone, this is Tabitha Cerberus, and today we have the lovely Jayna, also called Platinum Bubbles Cosplay. She lives near Chicago. She attends mostly Anime St. Louis, Anime Central, Anime Milwaukee, all the fun Midwest anime conventions. Um, your first question in this Q&A session is, how long have you been cosplaying?
Unofficially since 2013, where I did a Rosario Vampire cosplay for Halloween one year and a Hitalia cosplay. Please don't. uh, but officially, more seriously, since like 2016, I think was when I started at
Mhm.
Joann's, and I actually had the resources to be able to
That lovely
actually
team member
cosplay.
membership. That
Yeah.
discount. I've been cosplaying since 2013 as well, after I got back from England, studying a semester abroad there. I went through a rabbit hole of watching every anime convention, anime I could watch in England, and then started cosplaying when I got back. Uh, what got you into starting cosplay?
So I actually had a friend in high school. Her name was Mish, and she introduced me to the whole concept of cosplay through. We were friends because she got me back into Kingdom Hearts. We were in like a school play together. It's always the theater kids, and so her mom was a seamstress for local theater troops and would make costumes for the theater troops, and so one year for Halloween, my friend was Aqua from Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, wait, you can do that? And that's what sort of sparked the interest. And that was also around the time I started getting back into anime, beyond like my Sailor Moon phase when I was in kindergarten.
I think everyone had that phase in
Yeah.
kindergarten.
It was either Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball Z, and those were the only two.
Mine was
Um,
Sailor Moon and Digimon.
that's fair.
Yeah. uh, did something or someone inspire you to start cosplaying?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, it was still Mish. I definitely did not realize that it was even like a big thing until Heroes of Cosplay on Sci-Fi, which I know that can be a polarizing show because they didn't like necessarily film other competitions in the best light, and you know, but I really liked that show, and I was like, wow, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a cosplayer. It was right around the time that I was introduced to cosplay as a concept. So,
Okay. Alright, so what skills do you use when you create your cosplays?
uh, so I mainly do fabric cosplay, so it's mainly sewing, but I have also learned a little bit of foam smithing, a little bit of warbler smithing. Definitely had to pick up wig styling because I can't afford to commission a wig, and
I feel that. I feel that.
I've had to learn makeup techniques of different kinds, uh, all sorts of stuff, really. Like I've become kind of a Jill of all trades.
I do tell people when they want to know what a cosplayer is like, I always say that we are plumbers, electricians, makeup artists, costume designers, wig stylist.
Photographers, makeup artists.
Yeah, we're all over the place. All over the place. What is the
Oh,
hardest skill you learned and which one was the easiest one you learned?
the easiest one I've learned was makeup because I mean I have to wear makeup every day to begin with, so just learning to do slightly more complex things, that definitely is just building off of skills I already had. The hardest skills, one that I'm still learning, is foam smithing, particularly because I cannot the 3D space that you have to have
Mm.
in your for foam smithing is not something my brain does very naturally, and that's a skill I'm really working to learn, but transferring the 3D into the 2D and then back to the 3D, it's a lot. It overloads my brain a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
but
get that.
also, some of the sewing techniques I've had to learn were pretty interesting. I'm still teaching myself pattern drafting, and that's another one where it's turning 3D into 2D into 3D. So basically, any skill where that's the requirement.
Hmm. I get that all the time. I am very bad at makeup. I'm very good at contouring, which is I've been told is the hardest thing about makeup. But I can't do anything with my eyes. Can't do eyeliner. Can't do eyeshadow really well. But I can contour very well, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
And
Um,
I'm the opposite, where I look like I have a beard if I try to contour because I'm just too heavy handed.
Somehow I make it work. My easiest would be sewing. I've been sewing since I was little, but really didn't get into cosplaying until 2013. So like learning how to go from making a pillow to actually making clothes, the whole 2D to 3D thing can be very confusing. Um, what has been your favorite build so far?
Ooh. Okay, so it's actually kind of a tie because
And we'll put
I
up
mean,
photos.
in this same year, uh, where I really love my Giorno cosplay. Because that was the first one where I really wanted to do clean work, and I liked Giorno's design aesthetically. Apologies to your comment section, but I dislike part 5. It's one of my least favorite parts of JoJo, and I especially dislike Giorno as a character. So cosplaying him was kind of out of left field, but I had been doing mostly JoJo cosplays up to that point anyway. And again, I liked his design aesthetically, and I found like the perfect fabric and everything, and I just really wanted to do something clean, and that was my goal with that cosplay. And I'm really proud of how it came out. I get a lot of compliments every time I wear it. It's one of my favorite costumes to wear. It's one of my favorite costumes that I've made. And the other one is Katarina from My Next Life as a Villainess, which is almost the polar opposite in all the ways, because that was one I saw the show. I was like the only one of my friends who was into the show, and I've made it my life's mission to get as many people into My Next Life as a Villainess as possible.
I
Because
tried watching. I promise I tried.
it's a fun show. You didn't try hard enough. Try harder.
Hey, I got way too many shows coming up this October.
It's only 24 episodes. You can do it. I believe in you. But
Hey, I watched the other one you told me to watch
yes, yes,
because handsome long-haired man.
yes, who is exactly your type? Because I saw that and I'm like, that is a Tabitha cosplay right there. But I just really adored Katarina. I wanted to be her so bad. I literally made the costume in under a month. And thankfully I'd done Giorno first, and that took me months to do. But Katarina, I was able to take skills I'd learned from Giorno into making her and better have a costume. And those are two of my nicest costumes
And
to
didn't
date.
you compete with also both of them? Or was it just...
So technically, I kind of won with Katarina, but that was a digital competition during 2020, and I didn't like get an award or anything. But I kind of won for Anime St. Louis's like
video photo contest?
everyone, all the cons were virtual. I technically won novice for that one. So I'm not 100% sure if I can count that because they didn't like give me a certificate or anything. So does it really count? Could I enter her again? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But she's kind of in a gray area. I have competed with Giorno a few times. He's an always the bridesmaid, never the bride sort of situation because tried the simplicity competition over 2020. There were a lot more impressive costumes, so I didn't place. I didn't even get to the second round in that one. And then I did Anime Magic one year, And that was the one where the judges told me that the stitching was immaculate. So I
And
won,
that was
even
your
if
goal, right? That was
I lost that competition, but I won in my heart. And isn't that the real?
yeah, that's the goal usually.
Yeah. But then I did actually technically win with him for the Halloween competition for Anime Milwaukee. So like it's kind of all over the place. I have kind of competed with both of them, but I don't know how much their wins count.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You have a fly on your shirt.
yes, it's been buzzing around,
Sorry,
and
I keep finding him. I'm like, oh, where's he gonna land next?
yeah, he's real annoying because I don't have a spray. It's crap.
Any events that you love attending all the time?
So I've recently been looking forward to Anime St. Louis a lot more than usual, mostly because I have like friends that go to that convention, and Milwaukee I've been doing as a solo venture the past couple of years. And it is a really different experience to go to a convention with friends versus by yourself. And I always enjoy going to the costume competition. God, this fly. I enjoy going to the masquerade a lot, even if I don't compete, just because I like seeing the impressive
Mm-hmm.
cosplay people put out. I like seeing the unhinged stuff that some cosplayers will put out. Like, uh, cringe is dead, but God, some of it's cringe, but in like the best campy way. Like, I don't want to be mean, but like it's just the unbridled confidence of youth. I enjoy seeing the masquerade at any con I go to.
Mm-hmm.
I make it a point to check out the costume competition if I'm there on the day that it is.
Yeah, and I've attended both Anime Milwaukee multiple times, at least I think 30 times, and I've attended Anime St. Louis a lot. I love Anime Milwaukee. I love the location. The hotel, the Hilton Hotel, is
Oh my god,
gorgeous.
the hotel. I don't.
Beautiful photography. Um, I just haven't been able to go because one, they are redoing the convention center, and my brain was like, I am not messing with that hot mess of construction. So I've
Yeah.
just stepped back. But once they are done, I will step back to Milwaukee and be like, I'm back.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed Milwaukee. I loved the fact that, there's a gazebo you can do photos at. And I think you said
There's not a
recently,
line like at Katsu.
yeah, there's no line for this gazebo. And it's outside.
Yeah.
And it can be really nice when there's snow on the ground. Can have a nice little photo shoot in the snow. And you said
Mhm.
recently that there's now a pop-up selfie.
A selfie pop,
Yeah.
which is like you pay like $10 or $15, and then you get a bunch of backgrounds to go take selfies at. But last year they had a deal where if you show up and you showed them your Anime Milwaukee badge, although honestly I kind of feel like if you probably showed up in cosplay they just let you in with or without the badge. But they had a deal where if you showed up with your badge it was free to use all of their backgrounds. And it was in a food court that had like ramen and stuff.
Oh.
So
So
I just didn't
yeah.
block and a half from the hotel because it was really cold.
Yeah, that's the downside. Milwaukee is more of a winter con. But hey, if I go back and that place is still there, that's another place we can go and do some photos together.
Yeah, and that food court is worth it. And the prices are not much different than what you get at the con.
Okay,
And
that's a bonus. Better food, probably. um, what is your favorite and least favorite parts about cosplaying?
so my favorite part is seeing the finished product. Like genuinely getting to see the fruition of what was in my head suddenly be realized. That's always one of my favorite parts. I feel like that's a favorite part for a lot of people, just because it's that little hit of dopamine of I have done a thing that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my least favorite part, it's really weird. Like definitely the price for non-convention related least favorite things. But for convention related, like there's parts of the JoJo fandom, man, where it's not the cosplayers. The JoJo cosplayers are some of the nicest people I've ever met, but I've definitely had run-ins with fans where they think they're making a joke and they think it's funny, but it's not funny. And like, especially if it's a part of your costume where you're not super confident in it. Like, I love my Josuke cosplay, but the pompadour in my face shape, I always feel really weird about it. But Josuke's main joke is, "Hey man, your hair sucks," and I'm gonna just start carrying around a sign that says, "You haven't made a funny joke, you've just hurt my feelings. Congratulations."
I I get that feeling. I always feel really crappy if my wig doesn't look as good as I want it to be. You saw that with my your cosplay where I was not happy with how the wig was looking on me. Um, so if that happens, I usually don't want to wear the costume, even though I put so much work in it. Um, have you had a moment like at a convention or while you're cosplaying where you're like, I cannot believe that just happened, either good or bad?
Yeah. I've had a few. When you've been in the scene as long as I have,
Right.
you get some weird stories. One of my first conventions as a baby cosplayer, it was literally like only my second or third convention. I was dressed as Caesar because again, I've done a lot of JoJo's. This was I had just gotten into the JoJo fandom. I really liked Caesar. He's part of the reason my name is Platinum Bubbles. That in itself is a JoJo reference, guys. I like Totoro and I like Caesar, so therefore. But yeah, I was minding my own business in the hotel lobby, and this Dio cosplayer had a squeaker in their codpiece. And again, I was not expecting this, but they come like prowling towards me, sexy, strutty, squeaking the squeaker, and as loud as they possibly can, doing the like iconic Joseph Caesar yell, and I literally fell over. I had no idea how to react to that. I did not know what to do with the fandom at that point. Like I just kind of fell over.
If this
Like,
person finds this video and says, I was that person, I will
oh my
laugh.
god, if that Geo finds this video, you're iconic. I love you. Keep doing. I have never met someone with quite the sense of humor. I don't even know that person, but
If they magically stumble upon it as Q&A session.
yeah, it was neither a good nor a bad experience. It was just kind of a that happened. Um, there was one where I accidentally ended up stalking Johnny Young Bosch at a convention. It was not on purpose. It was just the venue was so small that we kept running into each other, and he recognized me every single time because I was dressed as Dio, and that was the only costume I had all weekend because it was Arizona, and I did not bring appropriate cosplays for the weather. Arizona.
Does anyone?
Dio, which is like my Dio was literally like a bodysuit with no sleeves, so that was the most comfortable thing to wear all weekend. And I had my Jonathan head with me. For people who don't understand, Johnny Young Bosch plays Jonathan, so I had a decapitated head with me all weekend. And I just kept running into this man. He signed the head. It's signed. He thought it was great. But I kept running into him, and I'm like, oh my god, this man thinks I'm stalking him. And it was literally just the hotel for Sabo is so small that like you're gonna run into the same four people all weekend. All weekend. I actually ran into a Jonathan I traumatized all weekend too. It was his own fault. He brought it on himself. He tried to so cool, and he was all like, yeah, you want to fight? And I just held up my head like, yeah, let's fight, babe. And he was like, ah, shh. Never seen a Filipino man turn so pale in my life. JoJo fandom.
And then I remember correctly, you had a fake cake once, right?
Yeah, I have never gotten more threats of violence than when I had the fake cake because people really wanted a slice of my red velvet. I have a cake dress. And part of the costume is I have a slice of fake red velvet cake because it's supposed to look like it came from my abdominal cavity, but I don't have a green screen to be able to do that effectively uh, in real life. So I had this fake cake made of styrofoam and plaster that I carried around all anime Milwaukee, and people kept coming up to me and being like, "Hey, can I have some cake?" And I was like, "You can, but it's not going to be very good." And I've never had so many threats of violence because people just. I thought the Jonathan head would be my legacy, and apparently it's the fake cake. The fake cake is what made people really wish me harm.
Yeah, it's because we're always hungry at conventions because we starve ourselves.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's especially lucky where they don't give you microwaves.
I know. It's becoming more common. It
I
sucks.
had cold hot pockets all weekend.
You-
Let me
Uh,
not good.
are there any cosplay projects you gave up on? And why did you give up on them?
So I do have a couple where I bought all the supplies and I never started them because it was the beginning of 2020. And I was like, oh man, we're going to be stuck inside. I won't say that I guessed we would be stuck inside a whole year, but I definitely felt like it was going to be beyond the 3 weeks everyone was promising. So I was like, I need to do something to like get me through 6 months. That's what I thought it was going to be. By no means psychic, but I was like, yeah, I'll just buy a bunch of fabric online. And so both were for Asmodeus cosplays. One was for Welcome to the Demon School Iramakun, that Asmodeus, and the other one was for Obey Me Asmodeus. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get these done. It's going to be super great. I styled the wig for both of them, and I have not touched any of the fabric. Actually, no. I stole the fabric for Obey Me Asmodeus to make my black parade coat when I went to the MCR concert.
So you don't even have the fabric anymore.
Yeah, to be fair, it actually wasn't the type of fabric I thought it was going to be, so it worked out in the end because
Okay.
I thought wearing like wool and it was not wool. It might have been wool, but it wasn't like the felty kind of wool that I was looking for. It was more like suiting fabric, and that's not what I wanted. Um, and so I haven't started either of those, but I have like most of the supplies. Iramakun, I think I just stopped being super into the show. No reason other than I just fell off. But Obey Me, part of it is like their school uniforms are stupidly complex. Like the sleeves are quilted. There's dingle bops on the sleeves. They've got a weird double breasty where it's got like a swoop, and there's all sorts of weird little things to do with it. And I really do want to still be Obey Me Asmodeus. So like maybe eventually, because it might get a fire under my butt to actually like pull the trigger on Malleus. Because you know, if you learn how to quilt sleeves, what's a whole suit made out of quilted material?
Hey, I would be happy because I really want to do
Yeah,
the masquerade of either Azul or Viper.
yeah,
I could
do
do
it.
both. I could always
But
do both and just kill myself with it.
just got to get like the skill set. But there were a few other costumes where I kind of gave up like halfway through, and I still finished the costume, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. The two that really come to mind for me are Adam from Escape the Infinity, which is the most recent like full build I've done. And the other one was Dinah, which was my cake dress. They were both competition pieces, so like me giving up halfway through was probably not good. But like with Adam, it was really weird because it was a weight thing, so like nothing fits because it was built to fit me at a different weight than I was, and it's like a whole thing. I thought I was gonna be able to be a better size than I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't make things proper. The pants fit, but nothing else. And the pants are really janky. So, and Dinah, it was just a lot of details where I wasn't ready for a lot of the skills that I was doing. Where like that was the first course that I'd ever made. I had to learn how to pipe frosting to do that, and like I piped plaster to do frosting. It was one of my first major foam builds for the cage skirt, and that's falling apart because I sat on it all day. And let me tell you, sitting on foam will not do the crew any favors,
No,
even
it
if
does
it.
not.
So,
You need to what you need to do is there's a video from one of my costume YouTubers where she builds under the hoop skirt a seat that you can like use to sit down in.
yeah, yeah, I learned how to sit in it, but then it got crumpled
Yeah, well,
and
this one's like in the hoop skirt, so it
oh,
just looks like you're standing, but you're
nice.
actually sitting.
Well, this is like an open front skirt. You would see the
Oh, the
contraption.
mech. Oh, okay. Well, I tried.
Yeah,
I tried.
it'd still be cool, but also the shoes are just really uncomfortable for Dinah. But that's my own fault for being like, yeah, we're gonna get pumps. Where's pumps to a convention? Me,
You'd be surprised how many types of shoes you see at a convention.
yeah, it's not a good all day shoe though.
No, it is not. Do you have a hope, like a plan or something you hope to do in the future that's like a major goal, either
Yes,
like a competition or a costume?
yes. My dream cosplay currently is I want to do Starscream from Transformers because my friend gave me Transformers brainworms and I have not left this right yet. Like I've been on the Transformers train since May of this year, and that means this isn't going anywhere. This is a fandom that's gonna go. I want to do Starscream from Transformers Animated, and I would like to meet all of the voice actors who were in the show and get them to sign one of my wings, and then get a bunch of Starscreams to sign the other wing. It would just be really fun. But that's an armor build, and I'm not super great at armor right now, so that's definitely like a thing that's down the line.
Mm-hmm.
If
I have a
but
few of those.
thankfully they do have an alternate idea that I can use where they have started releasing like static figures of different Autobots and Decepticons as cute anime girls. And Starscream is one of the ones that they just announced at Anime Expo this year. So I could be Starscream as a cute anime girl.
You could be. That would be something new.
God. Cheap too. I don't need money on these, but like it's Starscream. I got Starscream, Thundercracker, and who was the third one? It wasn't Slipstream because she's my baby. Jetstorm,
Okay.
Starscream, Cracker, and Jetstorm, but it's all the same base model because they're all Seekers, but they're just color palette swaps.
Okay. Your last question is, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in cosplaying?
Yeah. Don't stress about stuff. like don't it just kind of do what you want to do. So if you want to cosplay from a popular series, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to make a lot of friends who all have the same interests. But if you want to do like some obscure random anime from the 90s, like Escaflowne or Magic Knight Rayarth, go for it. There will honestly be a lot of people who are excited to see that. And it will also make you feel better because it's better to do something you want to do than to just chase trends and wear a costume that you don't really want to wear. But also give yourself time and patience and grace. Cosplay is a skill. It's not a talent. It's a skill that you have to build. and you have to learn things, and not everything's going to turn out right the first time. Some of your costumes are going to fall apart because you didn't serge the edges because you didn't know that was a thing you had to do. Sometimes you are going to accidentally attack your friend's gauzy skirt with a seam ripper because you were trying to get the zipper to work, and you have to fix a hole that's really big. But that totally did not just recently happen this week. But
wink, wink.
yeah, and you will get through it. And to quote the mother birdie from TikTok, one of my favorite influencers, you are far more capable than you give yourself credit for. And you can definitely get through this.
I like that advice. That's wonderful advice for someone starting out. There is a bonus question, and this is the bonus question. Is cereal a soup?
If it's warmed up, yes. If it's cold, no. Although actually, gazpacho's cold, so okay, cereal's a soup. Cereal's a soup. And a hot dog is a sandwich.
Okay.
Comments.
That is it for this Q&A session. I'm going to put Platinum Bubbles, aka Jayna's information, down in the description box below. So if you want to follow her, check her out. Look for her at Anime St. Louis, Anime Central, or Anime Milwaukee in the future, because you might run into her. And I'll be signing off. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye!